Good evening. Happy Sunday Funday. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's feeling well. Hope my internet's working. Apologize for this morning. It's funny that, I guess not really funny, but a little bit, I guess, that here I thought everything wasn't working, and it actually was working fine. And because on this side, it wasn't working, I ended up making it worse. But we're working tonight, it looks like. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook, give me a quick hello in the chat. Let me know that you can see and hear me. I did double check my audio this time. I could just see me being so worried about all the stuff that went on this morning that I forget to simply turn my mic on tonight. So, all right. So Christy's on. Showed up as New Hebron, but hey, Christy. Hey, Carol. Good to see you on as well. We're continuing our Upside Down series. So we're going to be talking some more about living life upside down. And hi, Will. Good evening. Good to see you as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started, I guess, this evening. We're going to do hi, Miss Judy. Good evening. Good to see you as well. We're going to do a word search tonight. Hopefully you got a device that lets you see this all right. And I'm hoping that as you do the word search, I can even talk a little bit. So I'm going to tell you some stories while you're doing the word search. And so I'm just going to jump right into it, start showing it. Because I know sometimes I babble on. It takes a while. Comments are showing up there on the left. So if you comment, it will show up there. And excuse me. So let's get started here. Make sure I get this working right. All right. So first of all, I was going to give it to you, give you a chance to give you a chance to look this over without the word list, just in case you like the extra difficult version of the game. And then I'll put the word list up, give us a little more good chance of this. But I will give you a hint. The idea we're talking about tonight is, and this is not the word that's in there, but kind of words related to this, is the idea of an eye for an eye. And so that's kind of what we're looking for. And we're going to be talking about Matthew chapter 5, where Jesus gives them challenges that idea of an eye for an eye. So, excuse me. So while you're looking for words, feel free to shout them out if you see one. I always kind of like this because sometimes you find words that aren't even intentionally in there. They're just words that happen to get in there, so that's always kind of fun. Recompense. All right. Recompense. Where at? See, do I have my little pointer? Let me find my handy dandy pointer here. Text arrow. Okay, here we go. So let me move this out of the way. Recompense is in there. Alright. Oh, you guys aren't giving me locations here. Alright, don't forget to give me locations. I see recompense now. It's here on the last column, going from bottom to top. Recompense. It's right there. Fort is first row down. Oh, that was Chrissy said first row down. Compassion is first row down. Okay, compassion. I get my comments all mixed up here. All right, so there's compassion. Oh, here's fort. Okay, I see fort now. Park my little pointer arrow right there. So yeah, you can kind of get the idea already with the words you found. That we're looking at words that would have to do with recompense, and also the words that would have to do with the opposite response, compassion. There are two ways to respond to something. You can say you want to get recompense, or you want to show compassion. And I'm waiting on one particular word really in particular to be found before I go into some of the other stories I want to tell, because I know as soon as I start introducing this next story, it'll just give away one of the words that's in there. And if you guys want me to go ahead and show the word list, just go ahead and tell me if this is way too hard. Lie is in there. Okay. Retaliation going down, fifth column from the right. 1, 2, 3, 5. There it is. Retaliation. All right. Good job. Comeuppance. Okay. Carol found comeuppance. That is right here. Starts with that C and goes down. Comeuppance is one of those words where someone kind of gets what they deserve, right? Somebody ends up getting something, and you say, well, that's some people use the word karma. Some people say it's a little bit of a comeuppance there. Sometimes it's something people want to give them. And as I mentioned before, they came in with a whole bunch of words here. And by the way, lie and fort are 2 words that just happen to be in there. Those are not in our word list, but that's good too. That's why I like doing it that way first. If you want me to give the word list, just go ahead and say, word list, please, because I know it can be hard if you're looking for words you don't even know what they are. But I like that extra challenge at the beginning. But speaking of comeuppance, we kind of like it when someone kind of gets their just desserts, right? Their due. Saw the story of a man named Alan Rowski. Alan Rowski was a internet spammer way back in 2003. Internet was still kind of growing at that time, but there were enough people on to be annoyed by internet spam. Everybody knows what spam is, those emails you get that you didn't ask for. They're trying to sell you something, trying to get you to go to their website. Well, Alan Rowski was one of the chief guys doing that back in 2003. In fact, he became known as the Spam King. He sent millions. I can't seem to talk. He sent millions of bulk emails out for different businesses. Made a ton of money at it. That's one of the interesting things about spam. As much as we all hate it, apparently spammers do pretty well. So it's amazing that they make money off of something that we all wish they wouldn't do. But he made a pretty good living for himself as the Spam King. And a lot of people, of course, despised him for it, calling him vermin and scum for his business practices, which they didn't agree with. Well, then a local newspaper spotlighted Rowski's lavish lifestyle. He had like an 8,000 square foot home and just all kinds of stuff with the wealth he was accumulating. And some of the people that didn't like him managed to find out where he lived, his physical address, based on this story's description of him and his home. And what they started doing is they started going out on the internet and signing his address up for junk mail on thousands of sites around the internet. And eventually other people started jumping on board as the word started going around what people were doing. And everyone that hated their spam seemed to take it out on Alan Rowski by signing him up. And eventually it says that at the peak, he was receiving several hundred pounds of junk mail every single day. And so that was their way of trying to give him a little bit of payback there, a little bit of recompense, if you will. He just, if you're interested, he later on pled guilty to federal court to a fraud scheme he was involved in. Had nothing to do with his spamming or whatever. Did end up with 51 months in jail. So I guess you could say some of them probably felt like that was a little bit of comeuppance as well. If they felt so strongly about his practice there of spamming people's inbox with unwanted solicitations there. No, Will, he had not found forgiveness yet. So no, it had not been found. So Will found forgiveness. Let me see if I can. It's funny because I ought to be able to find these because I've already seen the key ones, and yet I still, when you guys call them out, I still have a hard time finding them. Oh, here it is. Starting with that F right there and going down, forgiveness. All right. Good find there. Will found revenge. We'll come back to revenge in a moment. Christy found vengeance, third row down. Third row. Third row. Oh, third column here. Okay. Vengeance. All right. Right there. Starting with that V and going down. All right. So Will found revenge. Let me see where. Okay, it's right. All right. 3, 4. All right. Forgiveness. Yes, that's forgiveness. Revenge, right here beside it. Revenge. All right. So, all right, now I'm going to go ahead and show the, let me park my little, so you got to figure out where to park my arrow. I'm going to park it right up here. Hopefully you guys have already seen the comments that are near the top of the screen. And yes, third column from the right. Okay, so found revenge there. I'm going to go ahead and show the word list, because I think we're finding a lot of these. I'm going to hide me for a moment so you can see the entire word list. And let's see what we've gone through here. We have found, gotta go back on my list here. We found compassion. We found recompense. We found retaliation. We found comeuppance. We found forgiveness. So see right here, forgiveness. We found revenge. That was the word I was waiting on earlier. I didn't want to go into some of these revenge stories with use the word revenge because I knew that was one of the words people would be finding. And vengeance. Vengeance right here. All right. So we still got a couple words. I don't think we found payback, tit for tat. Do we say vindictiveness? I don't think we found that one yet. Mercy, grace, reprieve, or leniency. Tit for tat, second row. So tit for tat, first row backwards. All right. Oh, right there. Okay. Tit for tat. All right. Good job. So while you are continuing to look for those, another story I mentioned. We always love a good story of someone getting their just dues, and we also enjoy, to some degree, sometimes maybe not even in a good way, but a good story of revenge. Right? We enjoy seeing someone extract revenge. Think about how many movies that's the plot of. Someone has been wronged by someone else, and they go try to set it straight on their own. That's a kind of a traditional storyline there. One story that came to mind talking about this was the story of Buford Pusser. He was a Tennessee sheriff turned vigilante after his wife was killed in a shooting by some mobsters. He was fighting some organized crime there in his county in Tennessee, and I guess the people were trying to kill him, accidentally killed his wife, and there's a lot of legend and rumors that go around about it, but supposedly he kind of went on a mission to make sure that the people that were responsible for his wife's death were murdered or killed in some way, and that's, I guess, where several movies have been made out of that. So as I mentioned, kind of a storyline. People like to, get payback, if you will. Ooh, we got a couple of them here while I was talking. All right, mercy. Down, 8th from the right. 1, 2, 3. Right there. M-E-R-C-Y, mercy. All right. Oh, Carolyn, Christy, and Will found that one about the same time. Vindictiveness. All right. Vindictiveness is in there. Just can't remember where. Well, grace is below mercy. Mercy. And grace, okay, so there's grace. Where is vindictiveness? Right here. There's the V. Vindictiveness. Alright, now we took up almost the entire column there. Wow. Alright. Parking my little arrow there for a moment. Alright. Good thing that was not the right answer list there. Anyway, that's an old one. Alright, left of mercy. Alright, so yeah. There's mercy. So that was right there. So what do we have left? Trying to think. We found payback yet? Seemed like we may have had that one. Nope, no payback. We had, I don't think we've had retribution found yet. We did have retaliation, vindictiveness, recompense, comeuppance, forgiveness, mercy, grace. We had compassion, didn't we? Somebody show compassion already? Show compassion. No, I don't think we've had compassion. I thought I saw it. Oh yeah, Christy, compassion, that was earlier on. Reprieve and lenience. I don't think we have either one of those yet. Reprieve and lenience. and retribution, I think, are outstanding. While you're looking for that, I have one last revenge story, and this one is interesting as well. It's from World War II. A lady named Maria Oktyabrskaya, probably butchering that name, but she was from the area of Crimea in Russia at that time. I guess that today too, but been in and out. But she was Crimean, but she was very loyal to Russia and to communism in particular. She was a devout communist, believed in what Stalin was doing there in Russia. And she married a man who was in the military for Russia. His name was Ilya. And Ilya was killed fighting the Nazis in Kiev. Uh-oh, Will found vindictiveness. All right. Oh, wait. No, that's the one we we're going to go. Okay, that's not new. All right, still looking for retribution, reprieve, and lenience. So, but anyway, Ilya was killed fighting the Nazis in Kiev, and Maria was just overcome with grief, but she didn't let it just stop there at being grieving and being sad. She sold all of her belongings and she bought a T-34 tank. She named it Fighting Girlfriend. Not sure exactly what that name was. Why it was named Fighting Girlfriend, but that's what she named her T-34 tank that she bought by selling everything that she had. And her mission with that was to go and kill Nazi invaders. And so she knew that would be a difficult task. So she reportedly went all the way to Stalin himself and told him that she wanted to go fight. There were some women that fought for the Russians during World War II. I guess there's some 800,000 of them. But she went straight to Stalin, told him she wanted to go drive a tank. Stalin apparently, kind of liked the idea of this. I'm sure the media press attention and all that was good for him to have this lady that wanted to go fight the Nazis. And so he agreed and gave her 5 months of training on how to drive this tank and how to work on this tank and basically be a tank operator. And so she apparently was pretty good at it. And so her first tank battle was October of 1943. And they say that Fighting Girlfriend was the first tank to breach the enemy lines in that particular battle. And she kind of just, they said, she just wreaked havoc on the enemy. She ran over people. She crushed them under the treads of her T-34. She was kind of wild and reckless, just kind of going at them and running over people and equipment as needed. It says at one point, it was a month later, she was in another battle. It says she fearlessly jumped out of her tank, made the needed repairs while taking fire from different areas, and got back in her tank and continued the fight. So Maria was a woman on a mission. She was bent on revenge. In fact, one of the letters she wrote to her sister, I think this kind of explains, her mentality as she was doing this. She wrote a letter to her sister, and she said, "Sometimes I'm so angry I can't even breathe." And I think we can all kind of relate to that feeling of she was just so angry at these people. They were the reason she lost her husband, that she was taking it out on them, on the very people that were responsible there, and had that kind of feeling of revenge. I don't know if a movie's been made of that or not. That certainly sounds like another movie plot. Because as I mentioned, we kind of like that idea of revenge, of striking back. All right, a couple words found here. Lenience, down, second from the left. Get my text arrow here again. Lenience. All right, yeah, right there at the beginning. Lenience. And retribution, fifth column, second row. 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there. Retribution. All right, is that everything? We found all of them now? Well, I don't know about reprieve. Have we found reprieve yet? Let me park my arrow over here. I think we still lack reprieve. That may be the only one left. That's the only one left, then I'm going to pop myself back in here. And I'll just move me up here on the words we've already gotten. How about that? So, in fact, I'll move myself right down here by reprieve. No, I don't want to cover up our little faces there. I like those little faces. Anybody remember those little heads you put on the Lego people, and had all the different, um, uh, emotions, I guess. Ooh, didn't mean to move that. Oops, I was trying to find a word right there, and I just moved it right out from under him. All right, any ideas for lenience? Oh wait, lenience we already found. Reprieve. See, my memory is very short term. Anybody finding reprieve? If not, I will move to the answers. Move myself back down here. Now this time I built in a safety net as I go to show where the answer key. Because I think reprieve is the only one we haven't found as of yet, if I'm seeing it correctly. And I built in a safety net because sometimes I accidentally show the answers. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Hope nobody saw that. This time I wasn't going to let that happen. If I try to go show the answers, are you sure? No, I don't trust myself. I need a way to back up. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to do that. Yes, I'm sure this time I'm going to show. Here are the answers. It's funny because to me the answers are as hard to read as it is looking for them in the other list because they're all kind of together. But we have compassion. Here is lenience. We already had that one. Vengeance, comeuppance, retribution, tit for tat, vindictiveness. Oops, man. I'm just not doing a very good job with handling my computer equipment today. Mercy, grace, retaliation, forgiveness, revenge, and recompense. The one we were looking for, remember what it was? What were we looking for? Reprieve? Where is it? Is it not on here? Reprieve. That might have been why it was so hard to find. Reprieve. Alright. Good thing I didn't let you keep looking for it any longer, huh? Yeah, I'm not thinking it's on here. So, that figures. Okay, yeah, Will doesn't see it either, so whew, good thing we moved on. That might have been there for a while looking for a word that's not on the list. That is so funny because I go look at my list. Reprieve is definitely on the word list that I put into the software to create this word search, but it's not in the word search. All right, well, good job on that then. Everybody found, you guys found everything. And I mentioned that idea of revenge and kind of some of those stories there because I mentioned that sometimes it feels good to see somebody get revenge. Somebody, the bad guy get his just desserts, his comeuppance, as we use that other word. Get what they deserve, and we kind of like that storyline a little bit. But yeah, good. You don't feel so bad about not finding it. But when you think about some of those words we were looking at, here's those faces that we had all the different ones of. When you think about the love versus revenge or retaliation, the good responses, the difficult responses there, I'll put them that way, are often the shorter ones. Love, mercy, compassion, even. They're so strongly contrasted to revenge and retaliation. Sometimes that revenge or retaliation is driven by love for someone else, or we feel someone else got wronged, and that's what motivates us to retaliate or to get revenge. So there can be some connection there. But they're opposite responses. You do something to me, I can choose to try to get revenge, or I can choose to show you love. And that's what we're going to be talking about this evening here as we look at the idea of living upside down. I mentioned last week, our verse that goes along with the entire study, we'll look at each and every week, is Isaiah 55:9. Where God says, "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." God's saying, I think differently than you do. I see things from a different perspective than you do. And that was true of Jesus. As he was here on the earth, and he was sharing things with people, he had a different perspective. He's trying to show them, I can show you a better way. And Matthew 5 is part of the Sermon on the Mount. And there he says in Matthew 5:38, you've heard it has been said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That's kind of that general idea of someone gets what they got, what they gave. Someone hurt someone else, they should be hurt. It goes, that idea of eye for an eye went all the way back to the Mosaic Law. We also know from other non-biblical things, like even the Babylonians had the Code of Hammurabi, which also had that idea of an eye for an eye. It was interesting that they two legal codes spread apart geographically. Also, a couple hundred years difference there from when they would have come out. Had very much the same kind of idea of if I hurt you, if I hurt your eye, then I have to give an eye for that. Tooth for a tooth. Even quite literally there in that law. And it was that idea of having to pay back whatever was done, and obviously that's a big part of our legal system, and that's part of what the legal system is there for. Is if I do something and it costs you, then I'm supposed to be on the hook for that. If I destroy your property, then legally I should be required to restore your property, and that's kind of where that comes from. But at times, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying that the legal system is a bad thing, but we also can take that to our personal lives and our personal interaction with one another, and we start wanting everything to be all about justice and all about me getting my right, and you hurt me, now I need to hurt you. And Jesus is saying, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, resist not evil. But whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn him the other also. He said, I'm challenging you to be able to overlook wrongness. I'm challenging you to overlook offense. Someone wants to hurt you, I'm challenging you to try to learn to love them, to try to learn to show compassion on them, to try to not judge them so quickly. As Christians, it is challenging for us to show the kind of love that God has, and it starts with things like that. I mentioned a lot of times in our church, in different services and all, a phrase that I didn't come up with. I just heard it from another preacher, but it's so accurate that I have to say it over and over. And that phrase is that hurt people hurt people. And when someone is lashing out at you, they're hurting you, they're attacking you, it's probably coming from a place of hurt within them. And what Jesus is saying is we need to be able to step back from our own need for vengeance, our own need for defending ourselves, and be willing to see within that person what's going on in their life. They're lashing out for some reason. They have a hurt, they have a pain, they have something going on in their life that's causing them to attack me, and that's what we're more concerned about, is learning to care for them as an individual, even if their reaction to you is one that's wrong. That's hard to do, isn't it? That's living life upside down. That's living life the opposite way of what the world does. Jesus goes on in verse 40 saying, if a man will sue thee at the law, take away thy coat, let him have that cloak also. He says, someone is suing you and they're taking something from you, go ahead and give them the rest. Go ahead and give them even more than they're asking for. Show them that you're doing something different, that you're not just going by what the law says here. You're going above and beyond. In verse 41, he says, and whosoever shall compel thee to go a mile, go with him twain. These are hard things to say, right? That verse 41 doesn't make as much sense to us today in our time. But if you look at the people that Jesus was talking to there in Israel during the time of the Roman government, Israel was basically allowed to operate as a nation, but they were under the control of the Romans. They had to pay taxes to the Romans. They had to get permission from the Romans to be able to do things that they wanted to do. Even their laws that the Romans allowed them to live under, they had to go to the Romans for permissions in certain cases to even enact the different things that were in the law. That's why when the religious rulers wanted to kill Jesus, they took him to the Roman leadership. They knew they needed their approval for this. They needed their blessing on this. They weren't totally free. And many of the Jews hated the Romans because of that. They hated the oppression, the fact that they had to serve another government, another nation. They wanted their freedom, their national freedom there, and they hated the government for that. And one of the rules, the laws the Romans had, was if a Roman centurion came to you and said, "Here, carry my stuff," then you were legally obliged to carry it for a mile, for up to a whole mile. They could come to you no matter what you're doing, no matter how big a hurry you're in, no matter what's going on in your life at the moment. If that soldier said, here, carry my stuff, you had to carry it for a mile. That was the law. Can you imagine how much the Jews must have hated that? That here comes some soldiers, you better get out of the way, better stay out of sight, don't go mess with them, because all they got to do is say, here, carry my stuff, and basically, your day's ruined. You're busy carrying their stuff and being a servant to them for a period of time. And that's what he's referring to there when he says he's compelled thee to go a mile, go with him twain. He's saying, no matter how you feel about this law, no matter what you think about it, if they're saying do this, go the extra mile. And we have that saying, go the extra mile. That's what he's talking about here. It wasn't just a friendly thing here that he was talking about. It wasn't just somebody saying, hey, I want you to go to the store with me. Oh, yeah, I'll go to the store with you. I'll even go further. No, he's saying this was an obligation that people hated that the soldiers could do and say, here, carry my stuff. I'm tired of carrying this. You carry it. And he said, in that case, go with him twain. Verse 42, give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away. This is a tough one here because sometimes it's difficult when somebody asks for something if we just don't have the ability to help. But the Bible says we're to try to do everything we can to help. We're to try to help out in any way that we can. And there may be times you go, I don't know if I can trust this person. I don't know what they're going to do with it or whatever. Jesus saying, if he has to borrow, loan it to him. Give to him. And he says, ye have heard it been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. Think about those stories I read for a moment in light of what Jesus just said there. Those stories that I mentioned, that they often make movies out of those. The person's hurt, they're angry, they strike back, they get vengeance. The person has lost a family member, they go and act revenge to get back on those that hurt their family member. Those stories resonate with us because they're full of emotion. They're full of our human emotion. We did what Jesus said. It doesn't make much of a movie, does it? When Buford Pusser's wife is killed, if he goes on air and says, you know what, I forgive you, there's no movie. There's no series of movies or anything. It's over. What was the lady's name? Maria. If Maria's husband dies and she does nothing, you don't know who she is. If she just says, if she doesn't strike back and get revenge, we don't hear about her. So the revenge actually gives the bigger story. And Jesus is saying, don't worry about all that, what the world's looking for, what your emotions are telling you. He says, I want you to do things different. I want you to look at people and love them even if they don't love you. I want you to bless them even if they're cursing you. I want you to pray for them even if they hate you. He says, if they ask you to do something, I want you to go above and beyond on what it is, even if they don't deserve it. If you know that they feel like they don't deserve it, in the case of the Roman government there, if you feel like they shouldn't even have that right to ask, you're still giving to them. He says, I want you to live life differently. Can we do that as Christians? Now, hopefully you don't have people walking up to you and slapping you in the face to turn the other cheek. Hopefully you don't have people walking by and asking you to carry their stuff for a mile. But we all have situations where people are trying to do things to us that we can either respond selfishly, we can respond to fight back, or we can take Jesus' words to heart and say, okay, how can I treat this person with compassion? How can I treat this person with love? How can I treat them with leniency? Even in the case of, maybe they did something to me that really I should have the ability to strike back about, I can show leniency there. How can I do that kind of thing in every situation to show the type of person Jesus really wants us to be? So that's my challenge to you this week is love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. That's a lot harder than selling everything you own, buying a tank, and running over a bunch of Nazis. I did see another story I didn't share about a man. I can't even remember the story, the name now, but a man that got angry at the local government where he was at for some zoning thing they did. He built a tank. He bought a bulldozer and basically turned it into a tank. He put all this metal all around it and drove it through the city, just destroying buildings because he was so angry at the people there that he felt like were mistreating him and not handling him correctly. Mr. Judy says, love, sweet love, that is why there is just a little of it. You're right. There's not enough love, and there's an awful lot of recompense, revenge, tit for tat, eye for an eye. And so that's our mission this week. Love, compassion, regardless of how people are treating us. Let's show them the love of Christ. Hope you all have a wonderful week, and hope to see you back next Sunday morning. If I can do anything for you, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Give me a call, a text message, whatever, and we will talk again soon. Love you all. Have a great week.